I never thought I'd be packing a duffel bag at 11 on a Tuesday night, but there I was, shoving clothes into it while my wife screamed at me from the bedroom doorway. Her sister Vanessa sat on the couch downstairs, probably thrilled with herself. She'd been staying with us for 3 weeks, and in that time, she'd managed to convince my wife that I was planning to leave her. Not thinking about it, not considering it, planning it, like I had some elaborate exit strategy mapped out. "You heard what Vanessa said," my wife shouted. "She saw the messages on your phone. She knows you've been talking to apartment managers." I stopped packing and turned to face her. "I haven't talked to any apartment managers." And Vanessa went through my phone. "When exactly did that happen? Don't try to flip this around. She was looking for her charger and your phone was unlocked." "Sure it was. My phone that requires a fingerprint to unlock." But pointing that out wasn't going to change anything right now. My wife had made up her mind, and when she got like this, facts didn't matter. "You believe her over me," I said. Not a question, just stating what was obvious. She's my sister. She wouldn't lie about something like this. I zipped up the duffel bag. All right then. That seemed to catch her off guard. She'd expected me to fight harder, to beg, to defend myself with more passion. Instead, I grabbed my work laptop bag from the closet and my keys from the dresser. "That's it. You're just leaving. You told me to leave." "I'm leaving." I walked past her and down the stairs. Vanessa was still on the couch, scrolling through her phone with this subtle smile on her face. She glanced up as I reached the bottom step. "Going somewhere?" she asked, like she didn't know. Apparently, I was planning to anyway, according to you. Her smile widened just a fraction. I just told her what I saw. "Right? What you saw on my locked phone that you definitely didn't hack into." "I don't know what you're talking about." My wife appeared at the top of the stairs. "Just go. I can't even look at you right now." I headed for the door, then paused with my hand on the knob. Something had been nagging at me for the past month, ever since Vanessa moved in. Little things. Missing cash from the drawer where we kept emergency money. Charges on our credit card for stores I'd never been to. My wife brushing it off every time I mentioned it. "Hey," I said, looking back at Vanessa. "How much did you say you paid for that purse you bought last week?" She blinked. "What?" "The designer one. You said you saved up for months." "I don't see how that's any of your business now." "It's not. Just curious." I walked out into the night air, threw my bags in the truck, and drove off. In my rearview mirror, I could see the living room lights still on and 2 silhouettes in the window. I pulled into a gas station 3 miles away and sat in the parking lot for a minute, just breathing. Then I pulled out my phone and opened our bank app. I'd been meaning to check something for weeks, but kept getting distracted. There it was. A charge from 2 months ago at a boutique downtown. $800. I clicked on it, then cross-referenced it with our shared calendar. That was the day my wife said she was visiting her mother in Portland. The charge was local. I scrolled back further. More charges. Different stores, different amounts, but all on days when my wife wasn't home. Days when Vanessa had been staying with us. I took a screenshot of each one, then opened a new folder on my phone and saved them all there. Then I did something I probably should have done sooner. I called my buddy Fletcher from work. "It's almost midnight," he answered. "I know. I need a place to crash for a few days. Maybe longer." There was a pause. "What happened?" "I got kicked out of my own house because my sister-in-law decided to start some drama. Long story. Come on over. I've got a spare room and you know where I keep the beer." "Thanks, man. I owe you." "You really don't. See you in 20. I hung up and stared at my phone screen, at all those screenshots I'd just taken. Then I opened my email and sent them to myself with the subject line, "Evidence. Do not delete." Something told me I was going to need them. I started the truck and headed toward Fletcher's place, already making a mental list of things I needed to do tomorrow. First on that list was calling a lawyer. Second was checking every single transaction on our accounts for the past 6 months. If Vanessa wanted to play games, she picked the wrong person to mess with. I wasn't planning to leave before, but I sure was now. And I was going to make certain everyone knew exactly why. Fletcher's spare room was basic but clean. A bed, a dresser, and a window that looked out onto his backyard. It was enough. I spent the first morning going through our bank statements on my laptop while Fletcher made coffee. 6 months of transactions, printed out and highlighted. The pattern was obvious once I knew what to look for. Charges on Tuesdays and Thursdays, always between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Those were the days my wife worked her longest shifts at the dental office. And Vanessa had been crashing at our place on and off for the past 4 months. not 3 weeks like I'd thought. How bad is it? Fletcher asked, setting a mug next to my laptop. Bad enough that I'm calling a lawyer today. You think the sister's been stealing? I don't think. I know. Look at this. I turned the laptop toward him. 800 here, 650 there, 400 at some jewelry store. All charged to our credit card, all on days when my wife wasn't home. Fletcher whistled low. That's what? $3,000 right there. That's just March. I haven't even finished going through April and May yet. My phone buzzed. A text from my wife. The first one since I left. We need to talk. I set the phone face down on the table. Not answering? Fletcher asked. Nothing to talk about. She made her choice. The truth was, I had plenty to say. But not yet. Not until I had everything documented and a lawyer who could tell me exactly what my options were. I finished my coffee and pulled up a search for divorce attorneys in the area. Found one with good reviews, called, and left a message. Then I went back to the bank statements. By noon, I'd found over $7,000 in fraudulent charges, all made while Vanessa had access to our house, our cards, our information. The woman was methodical, I'd give her that. Never took too much at once. Spread it out over months. Probably thought nobody would notice. My phone buzzed again. Another text from my wife. You can't just ignore me forever. I could, but I typed back anyway. I'm not ignoring you. I just don't have anything to say right now. 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Vanessa said you'd act like this. I almost laughed. Of course she did. Vanessa had this whole thing planned out. Get me kicked out, move herself in, keep draining the accounts. My wife would just think it was stuff she forgot she bought or bills that came up. The lawyer called back around too. Her name was Patricia Simmons, and she sounded exactly like someone who'd dealt with this kind of mess before. So let me make sure I understand, she said after I explained the situation. Your wife forced you out based on accusations from her sister, and now you've discovered that same sister has been committing fraud. That's the short version, yes. Do you have documentation? Bank statements going back 6 months. Screenshots. Receipts for things we never received. I've been organizing it all morning. Good. Can you come in tomorrow at 10? I want to see everything you have. I'll be there. And stop communicating with your wife. Nothing in writing, nothing verbal. If she needs to reach you, it goes through me once you retain my services. Understood. After I hung up, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Control. For the first time since this nightmare started, I wasn't reacting. I was acting. Fletcher came home around 6 with takeout. We ate burgers in his living room while a baseball game played on TV. So what's the plan? He asked. Meet with the lawyer tomorrow. File for divorce. Probably file a police report about the fraud. You're really going scorched earth on this. She kicked me out of my own house because her sister lied. She didn't ask questions, didn't give me a chance to defend myself. Just believed Vanessa over me. I took a bite of my burger. Yeah, I'm going scorched earth. My phone buzzed again. My wife was calling this time. I let it ring through to voicemail. A minute later, another text. Fine. If you want to be childish about this, I'll just assume Vanessa was right. I showed the text to Fletcher. She actually thinks I'm the one being childish. Man, I don't know how you stayed married this long. Honest answer? I didn't either. Not anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the signs I'd missed. The way Vanessa always seemed to be around when my wife and I argued. How she'd suggest things that would set my wife off. Little comments here and there about how I could be doing more, being better, trying harder. She'd been working on this for months, slowly poisoning my wife against me while simultaneously robbing us blind. Around 2 in the morning, I got up and went back to my laptop. I started going through my wife's social media, looking for any other connections Vanessa might have exploited. Then I found it. A post from 3 weeks ago. My wife's status update. Sometimes family sees things we're too close to notice. Grateful for honest people in my life. Vanessa had commented, always here for you, sis. That's what family does. 18 likes, including my wife's friends, her co-workers, even her mother. I screenshotted that too. Added it to my growing folder of evidence. By the time the sun came up, I had a timeline. For months of systematic manipulation and theft. Every text Vanessa had sent my wife that I could find. Every charge she'd made. Every lie she'd told. Tomorrow, I'd hand it all to Patricia Simmons. And then we'd see who was really planning to leave who. Patricia Simmons was sharp. She sat across from me in her office, flipping through the printed bank statements I'd brought. occasionally making notes on a yellow legal pad. "This is thorough work," she said. "Most people come in here with gut feelings and vague suspicions. You've got dates, amounts, patterns. I'm an inventory manager. Details are kind of my thing." She smiled briefly, then got serious again. "Here's what we're looking at. For the divorce, this is straightforward grounds for irreconcilable differences. The fraud situation is separate but related. I'm going to recommend you file a police report today. Will that complicate the divorce? It'll actually help. Shows you're a victim of theft, not a willing participant in marital financial problems." She tapped one of the statements. "But there's something else I want you to check. These cash advance charges. See them?" I leaned forward. "For separate charges over 2 months. $200 each time. I assumed those were Vanessa too. They probably are. But cash advances usually mean someone's in immediate need. People with gambling problems, drug habits, that sort of thing. Might be worth looking into what she needed the money for." After leaving Patricia's office, I sat in my truck and pulled up Vanessa's social media. Her accounts were public, which made my life easier. I scrolled back through months of posts. Most of it was the usual stuff. Selfies, food pictures, complaints about work. Then I found something interesting. A check-in at a casino about 40 minutes north. Posted 6 weeks ago. I kept scrolling. Another casino check-in 3 months back. Then another one. She'd deleted some posts, but the tagged photos from friends were still there. Vanessa at card tables. Vanessa holding drinks in casino bars. Vanessa with other people I didn't recognize. I took screenshots of everything. Then I did something that felt slightly illegal but necessary. I called my buddy Randall who works in IT. "I need a favor," I said, "and I need you to not ask too many questions. This is already starting great. My sister-in-law. I think she's got gambling debts and I need to confirm it. Can you do any kind of background check?" There was a pause. "I can run a basic search. Public records, that kind of thing. Nothing classified. That's all I need. Give me her full name and date of birth if you have it." I rattled off Vanessa's information. She'd filled out an emergency contact form at our house once. I'd taken a photo of it weeks ago for completely unrelated reasons. "I'll text you what I find. Might take a few hours." "Thanks, man." By the time I got back to Fletcher's place, my phone was blowing up. 7 missed calls from my wife. 3 voicemails. I listened to the first one. "You can't just disappear like this. We need to figure out what we're doing with the house, the bills, everything. Call me back." The second one was angrier. "Seriously? You're going to ignore me? This is so typical of you. Vanessa said you try to punish me by going silent." The third one was different. Quieter. "I miss you. I know you're mad, but we can work through this. Just come home and we'll talk." I deleted all 3 without responding. Around 4 in the afternoon, Randall texted me. "Check your email. Sent you what I found. It's not pretty." I opened my laptop. The email had 2 attachments. The first was a credit report. Vanessa had 3 maxed-out credit cards totaling over $15,000 in debt. The second attachment was a court record. She'd been sued by 2 different creditors in the past year. So that's what this was really about. Vanessa wasn't just a thief. She was a desperate thief with serious money problems. And my wife and I were her personal ATMs. I forwarded everything to Patricia Simmons with a note. "Found the motive." She replied within 10 minutes. "Perfect. This strengthens everything. File that police report tonight if possible. I'll start drafting divorce papers tomorrow." The police station was quieter than I expected. The officer who took my report was professional but skeptical at first. "So you're saying your sister-in-law stole from you while living in your house?" "That's exactly what I'm saying. I have bank statements, receipts, and evidence of unauthorized purchases going back for months." I showed him everything on my laptop. The charges, the dates, the timeline of when Vanessa had access to our cards. His expression changed. "This is identity theft. Financial fraud. How much are we talking total?" "Over $7,000 that I can prove. Probably more I haven't found yet." "And your wife knows about this?" "My wife kicked me out because her sister told her I was planning to leave. She has no idea her sister's been robbing us." He took notes for 20 minutes, asking questions about specific transactions and locations. Then he handed me a case number. "We'll investigate this. It might take a few weeks, but with documentation this solid, we'll likely press charges." "What happens then?" "If we verify everything you've shown me, she'll be arrested. Probably charged with multiple counts of fraud and identity theft. That's felony territory. I drove back to Fletcher's place feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Everything was in motion now. The divorce, the police investigation, all of it. My phone rang again. My wife. This time I answered. Finally, she said. Where have you been? Busy. Busy with what? Lawyer meetings. Police reports. You know, handling things. There was silence. What are you talking about? You'll find out soon enough. How's Vanessa doing? She settle into the guest room okay? She's fine. What? Just curious. Tell her I said hi. I hung up before she could respond. Fletcher came home an hour later and found me on the couch, smiling at my phone. You look way too happy for someone going through a divorce. That's because I'm not just going through a divorce. I'm dismantling the entire operation. Vanessa's got gambling debts, criminal charges coming her way, and no idea I know any of it. When does your wife find out? Soon. Very soon. I lean back. And when she does, I want to be there to see her face. 8 weeks. That's how long it took for my wife to finally crack. I'd been staying with Fletcher, working my regular shifts, meeting with Patricia twice a week to finalize everything. The police had confirmed they were moving forward with charges against Vanessa. The divorce papers were ready. I had copies of everything organized in a folder that sat on Fletcher's kitchen table like a ticking bomb. My phone rang on a Wednesday evening. My wife's name lit up the screen. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Yeah, we need to talk. Her voice had that edge to it. The one she used when she thought she had the upper hand. About what? About you coming home. About fixing this mess you created. I almost laughed. Mess I created. That's interesting. Have you realized you were wrong yet? Because I'm willing to move past this if you just admit you overreacted. There it was. 8 weeks of silence on my end, and she thought I was the one who needed to apologize. Vanessa had done her job well. You want to have this conversation in person? I asked. Finally. Yes. When can you come over? How about Saturday afternoon? 2 o'clock work for you? That's fine. Vanessa will be here too. She wants to clear the air. I bet she does. Perfect. See you then. I hung up and immediately called Patricia. It's happening Saturday. I need everything ready. The papers are finalized. I'll have them couriered to you Friday. The police report is in your email. You have all the evidence. Every last piece. Good luck. Call me after it's done. Friday morning, a courier delivered a thick manila envelope. Inside were the divorce papers, printed and organized with tabs marking where signatures were needed. I read through every page twice, making sure I understood exactly what I was signing and what my wife would be agreeing to. The settlement was fair, maybe too fair. She'd get half of everything except what could be proven as stolen by Vanessa, which, according to Patricia's calculations, was substantial enough that my wife would actually end up with less than half. Fletcher found me at the kitchen table that evening, surrounded by documents. You nervous? He asked. Not even a little bit. I'm bringing a folder full of evidence that her sister's a criminal. What's she bringing? More lies from Vanessa. You think she knows anything yet? Not a chance. If she did, Vanessa would have run already. Saturday morning, I packed everything into my truck. The divorce papers, the police report, printed bank statements with highlighted charges, screenshots of Vanessa's casino check-ins, her credit report showing the gambling debts, photos of items she'd purchased with our stolen money, still tagged in her social media posts. I got to the house at exactly 2 o'clock. My wife's car was in the driveway. So was Vanessa's. I grabbed the folder in a leather messenger bag I'd borrowed from Fletcher, made myself look professional, put together, like someone who'd spent 8 weeks planning instead of falling apart. The front door was unlocked. I walked in without knocking. My wife was sitting on the couch, arms crossed. Vanessa was in the armchair, that same subtle smile on her face from the night I left. You're here, my wife said. She sounded surprised, like maybe she thought I wouldn't show. You invited me. I set the messenger bag on the coffee table. So let's talk. First, I want an apology, she said, for how you've acted these past 2 months. Ignoring my calls, refusing to communicate like an adult. I nodded slowly. Okay, but before we get to apologies, I have some things to show you. I don't want to see anything. I want to hear you say you were wrong. Vanessa leaned forward. Just admit you overreacted. We can all move forward. I looked at her directly for the first time. Actually, Vanessa, this concerns you most of all. Her smile faltered just a fraction. I pulled out the first document. Bank statements. Set them on the coffee table, facing my wife. What is this? She asked. Our credit card bills from the past 6 months. Take a look at the highlighted charges. She picked up the papers, scanning them. I don't understand. Those are purchases neither of us made. $800 at a boutique on a day you were in Portland. $650 at a jewelry store when you were working a double shift. $400 at some online store neither of us had ever heard of. My wife's face went pale. That's impossible. It's not impossible. It's fraud. I pulled out more papers. Over $7,000 in unauthorized charges, all made while someone else had access to our house and our cards. Vanessa stood up. I think I should go. Sit down, I said. Not loud, but firm enough that she actually did. We're just getting started. I pulled out the casino photos, laid them across the table. Your sister has a gambling problem. These are from her social media. Check-ins at 3 different casinos over 4 months. Want to guess where she got the money? My wife looked at Vanessa. Is this true? He's making this up. He's trying to turn you against me. I pulled out the credit report. Here's her debt. $15,000 across 3 maxed-out credit cards. Court records showing she's been sued by creditors twice. Stop it, Vanessa said. Her voice was shaking now. And here's my favorite part. I pulled out the final document. A police report I filed 3 weeks ago. They've been investigating, and as of yesterday, the detective called me. They have enough evidence to press charges. The room went completely silent. My wife was staring at the papers like they might disappear if she looked hard enough. Vanessa had gone white. Charges for what? My wife whispered. Identity theft. Financial fraud. Credit card fraud. Take your pick. I looked at Vanessa. The detective said probably 3 to 5 years if convicted. Could be more depending on the judge. Vanessa started crying. Not the sad kind of crying. The panicked, hyperventilating kind. My wife turned to her. Tell me he's lying. Tell me none of this is true. Vanessa couldn't speak. She just kept shaking her head, tears running down her face. I reached into the bag one more time, pulled out the divorce papers. And these are for you, I said, sliding them across the table to my wife. I'm filing for divorce. You kicked me out based on lies from a woman who was actively robbing us. You chose to believe her over me without even asking questions. Wait, my wife said. We can fix this. Now that I know what you did, we can work through this. There's nothing to work through. You made your choice 2 months ago. I'm just making mine now. Vanessa wiped her face with shaking hands. You don't understand. I was going to pay it back. I just needed time. Time. I pulled out my phone and opened my email. Let me show you something the detective sent me yesterday. I turned the screen toward them. It was a spreadsheet the police had created, tracking every fraudulent charge by date, location, and amount. They'd even included photos from store security cameras showing Vanessa making several of the purchases. That's you at Target, I said, pointing to one image. Buying a cart full of stuff with our card while my wife was at work. And that's you at the jewelry store. And that's you getting cash back at 3 different grocery stores in 1 week. My wife covered her mouth with her hand. Vanessa tried to stand again. I need to leave. I can't do this. The detective wants to talk to you, I said. In fact, he asked me to call him when we were all together. Said it would save him a trip. That stopped her cold. What? I pulled out the detective's business card and set it on the table. Detective Harold Morris. He's very interested in hearing your side of the story. Should I give him a call right now? No. Vanessa's voice cracked. Please don't. I'll figure out how to pay it back. I'll get a loan. I'll do whatever it takes. It's too late for that. The moment I filed that police report, this stopped being a family matter. It's criminal now. My wife was reading through the divorce papers, her hands trembling. You already signed these. I did. All you have to do is sign on the highlighted lines, and we're done. The settlement's fair. You keep the house since it's in your name. We split the savings account equally. I take my truck, you keep your car. Clean break. But the house has a mortgage. How am I supposed to afford that alone? That's something you should have thought about before you kicked me out. I kept my voice level. I'm not trying to ruin you. I'm just done being married to someone who trusts me so little that her sister could blow up our entire life with one lie. Vanessa suddenly lunged for her purse. My wife grabbed her arm. Where do you think you're going? I have to get out of here. He's going to call the cops right now. I already called them, I said. Well, technically, I filed the report 3 weeks ago. They've been building their case since then. Detective Morris said they'd probably pick you up sometime next week once they finalize everything with the district attorney. Vanessa's face crumpled. She dropped back into the chair and put her head in her hands, sobbing. My wife looked at me with something between anger and desperation. How can you be so calm about this? She's my sister. This is going to destroy our family. Your sister destroyed your family when she decided to use you as a cover while she stole from us. I'm just making sure there are consequences. But jail? You're really going to let them put her in jail? I'm not letting them do anything. She committed crimes, multiple felonies. That has consequences in the actual world. I pulled out another document. The one Patricia had prepared showing the financial breakdown of everything Vanessa stole. Here's what your sister took from us. $7,342 in unauthorized purchases. Another $800 in cash advances. Plus, there are probably charges I haven't found yet. The police are still going through our accounts. My wife scanned the document, her expression shifting from shock to something harder. She turned to Vanessa. You spent $800 at a spa? While I was working 60-hour weeks. Vanessa didn't respond, just kept crying into her hands. And this charge here, my wife continued, her voice getting sharper. $250 at some restaurant I've never heard of. When was this? I checked the date on my phone. That was the day you thought she was job hunting. Remember? She said she had 3 interviews lined up. My wife stood up. Get out. Vanessa looked up, confused. What? Get out of my house. Right now. But I'm living here. I don't have anywhere else to go. You should have thought of that before you stole from me. My wife's voice was ice cold now. Pack your stuff and leave. Tonight. Please, I'm sorry. I'll make this right, I swear. The only thing you're going to make right is your criminal record. My wife grabbed Vanessa's purse and shoved it at her. Get your things and get out. If you're not gone in an hour, I'm calling the police myself. Vanessa stumbled toward the stairs, still crying. We could hear her upstairs, frantically opening drawers and closets. My wife sat back down, staring at the divorce papers. I can't believe this is happening. Which part? The part where your sister robbed us blind, or the part where you chose to believe her over me? She flinched. That's not fair. Fair? You kicked me out of my own house based on nothing but her word. You didn't ask for proof. Didn't give me a chance to defend myself. Just decided I was guilty and told me to leave. She's my sister. I trusted her. And I was your husband. Where was my trust? She didn't have an answer for that. Vanessa came back down 20 minutes later, dragging 2 suitcases. Her face was red and blotchy from crying. She looked at my wife one more time. I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. Just go, my wife said. Vanessa walked out the front door. We heard her car start, then drive away. The house was quiet for a long moment. What happens now? My wife asked. I pointed at the divorce papers. You signed those. I filed them with the court. In 6 months, we're officially done. And Vanessa? The police will handle that. Probably arrest her within the week. Then it's up to the DA whether they want to prosecute. Given the amount of money and the multiple counts, I'm guessing they will. My wife picked up a pen. Her hand hovered over the first signature line. I really thought you were leaving me, she said quietly. Vanessa was so convincing. She showed me texts she said were from you, talking to other women. She had screenshots of apartment listings she said you'd been looking at. All fake, all manipulated. And you believed it without asking me once. She signed the first page, then the second, then the third. When she was done, she pushed the papers back across the table. I hope you're happy. I'm not happy. I'm just done. I collected the papers and put them back in the folder. You'll get your copy from my lawyer next week. The house is yours. I'll come by next Saturday to get the rest of my stuff. I stood up and walked toward the door. Wait, she said. Where are you going to live? I turned back. That's not your concern anymore. And I walked out, closing the door behind me for the last time. 3 months later, I was signing the title to a renovated travel trailer on 2 acres outside town. Not fancy, but it was mine. Paid cash with money I'd saved working overtime while staying at Fletcher's. Vanessa got arrested 2 weeks after our confrontation. The DA charged her with 6 counts of identity theft and fraud. She took a plea deal, 18 months in county jail, 5 years probation, and court-ordered restitution of $8,000. My ex-wife called once during the trial. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail saying she was sorry, that she should have believed me, that maybe we could try again once everything settled down. I deleted it without responding. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday. Patricia called to congratulate me. Said it was one of the smoothest cases she'd handled in years, mainly because I documented everything so thoroughly. I hung up and looked around my new place. Small living area, kitchen, bedroom, solar panels on the roof. A deck I'd built myself overlooking a creek. It wasn't much, but it was peaceful. Fletcher came by that weekend with beer and a housewarming gift. A welcome mat that said no drama allowed. Seems fitting, he said. We sat on the deck, watching the sun go down. You ever regret how it all went down? He asked. Not even once. She made her choice. I just made sure everyone understood what that choice cost. My phone buzzed. A text from Randall. Heard your ex is selling the house. Market's rough right now. Thought you'd want to know. I showed Fletcher the message. You feel bad about that. She kept the house and the divorce. What she does with it isn't my problem anymore. I took a drink. Besides, she's got to pay her sister's restitution somehow. Cold-blooded. Accurate. I corrected. There's a difference. The truth was, I'd moved on. New place, same job, better peace of mind. No more walking into a house wondering what drama was waiting. No more checking bank statements for mysterious charges. No more wondering if my wife believed me or her sister. Last I heard, Vanessa was working in the jail kitchen, counting down her sentence. My ex-wife had moved in with her mother to save money. They'd both sent letters through Patricia asking if I'd consider reducing the restitution amount. Patricia asked what I wanted to do. I told her no. Actions have consequences. Vanessa learned that the hard way. So did my ex-wife. As for me, I learned that sometimes the trash takes itself out. You just have to be smart enough to lock the door behind it. Fletcher raised his beer. To new beginnings. I clinked my bottle against his. To knowing when to walk away. And that was that. No going back. No second chances. No loose ends. Just me, my trailer, and a life that was finally completely mine.